cheap, but the one that is so devastating that our brothers now are suffering impotence, I said, our sisters, she suffers impotence too. Oh, don't think that just men suffer impotence. I know women in their 20s don't want to have no sex. Their reproductive organ is so jammed up, they don't even want to think of sex, can't even do it. Why? Because of the food that was removed from us? Yes. The African biomineral balance is necessary because the food that was consistent with us in Africa, we don't even know it now. None of you had know it, including me. What I did with the Usha Institute, what we have done, was to find the plants that contain the amount of electricity that would begin the regeneration of cells and give you energy. So we had to go to the tropics to find those herbs. Because we came from where? We came from the temperate region or the tropics. We came from the tropics. We went to the tropics. Go to the tropics all the time and get these herbs, high in alkali, give them to you. In 5 minutes, you're telling me how good you feel already. Sure. It wasn't that we were wise even doing that. It's just that we made a decision that was consistent cosmically. Don't deviate from the cosmic. The cosmic is God's creation. When you interfere with that, you interfere with your life, not the life of God. God don't care what you eat. You could eat and die. He still lives. But if you want to live, you have to be obedient to that particular cosmic arrangement. But we are not doing that. We're eating comfort, thinking it's good. We're eating carrot, it's good. Peppermint. Oh, we drink peppermint. You sure I like peppermint? It's very delicious. It's very good for you. Peppermint is very good for you. For what? I don't know. Because it's artificial. It would freeze your brain. But it says that they have food storage. So what do we do now? So how do you think they see me? I mean, I just came back from England from talking to some people. They were happy. Well, they were happy to see me. In fact, we're going to England to open a place. And we will be successful. Why? Because the herbs are the #1 agent of healing in England. Why? Because the Queen says so and she used herbs. But in America, no. In America, the white man made sure you talking about herbs, you go to jail. And if you win the case in jail, you're going to label as a voodoo man. Do you do voodoo? They ask me the question all the time. It is impossible for a black man to be equitable unless he's indulging in voodoo. Not that he is cosmically sound, not scientific, because I'm not scientific. If I was scientific, I'd come with the chemicals. I'm not that. I'm natural. I'm the man that is sinless. I'm not the only man that realizes that we are not sinful. I know some other people that I've met in my life that knows that they do not have to pray to save their soul from sin or cleanse their soul from sin, because they realize and they know that they were not sinful people and that we did not come from sinful people. We came from godly people. But now, because of the food that we were forced to eat, it changed that whole thing around. And we find ourselves first hating ourselves. I don't like the way I look. I got to change my cheek. I got to change the color of my hair. I need this. I need that. So everything now began to change because the food that we were eating allowed these things to happen, to come into our life. And we began to hate ourselves first, and then the neighbor, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Because it is impossible for someone to love themselves and hate someone else, because there's no room for that. There could not be any room. I mean, I should know that one also, because when I was in my 20s and my second wife left me, I took a machete. You see, I come from Central America, where we use machete. You guys pick cotton in America. In Latin America, no, we pick bananas. We got a machete, baby. So I'm used to a machete. So I'm going to kill my mother-in-law with a machete. Because I thought that she was responsible for my wife and I breaking up. And nobody could show me the difference. But I couldn't see any difference. Why? Because the meat was helping me to see the stuff. And oh my God, I suffered the greatest embarrassment of my life. Because 7 years later, I was healed. Because when Melvin left me, I decided to see the healer approximately a year later. And by the second year of my life, I was just as virile. I lost 89 pounds. and I was feeling good, and I was looking good, and I felt so healthy. I felt so good. So I sit quietly one day, and who came to my thoughts? Clara. Why Clara? Because Clara is the name of my mother-in-law, the one that I wanted to kill, the one that if I get with that old lady, I'd chop an leg off, at least, or an ear. At least I'd bite an ear off, you know, I had to get something. So, after these 7 years had gone by, I thought about Clara. And then I thought about her birthday. And I bought a television, an Emerson television. I seen it, and I took to her. And she looked at me at the door. She said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Something happened." Then she looked at me. She said, "You lost weight." I said, "Yes." "Well, your wife is married." I said, "Well, that's fine. I'm glad that she's married. I hope that she's doing well." This man has changed here. "Are you all right?" I said, "Yes." "You look different." I said, "Well, I told the story about the men who came in Mexico." I said, "But to cut a long story short," I said, "Here's a television. I want you to have. I want you to have this. This is your birthday. I know it's your birthday today." And we both cried. Because, see, disease, how you doing some stupidity. Like living in a house with the same woman and not speak to her for 17 years. I know cases like that. Disease, that's that. It happened right in the West Indies. I paid a man to live in the same with his wife for 17 years, did not say a word to her. But as soon as his diabetes left, and his penis started getting hard, and his back wasn't hurting, he turns to me, he said, "Hey, go knock on that window and tell that lady that I love her." I said, "Charles, you did not hire me to go and mediate between you and your wife. You hired me to heal your body. But look, man, I want you to do me a favor. Go tell the woman I love her, because she lived there, you know, he run the story down to me. But it was his disease, wasn't it, woman?" He said, "I'll tell you what, I'll go with you." And we both go together. So I went together with Charles. And I knocked on the woman's door. And she opened it half. You know, it was a door that opened, you know, these doors that open.
Dutch door.
Yes. One half and other half. She opened the top half. She said, "Hi." But when she opened the top half, he was behind it. But she didn't know. So I'm standing there. She said, "Hi." I said, "Hi." But I've been going to the house for 6 months, dealing with this man. I've not seen this woman. I have not seen this woman. She says, "Oh, I know who you are." Like all women, they know everything, and which is a fact. That's not saying it to Jesus Smith. Woman knows everything. We may think you guys don't know, but that's a lie. I know different. Woman knows everything. So this woman said to me, "I know who you are. You're that healer that come from St. Croix." I said, "Yes, ma'am." "Well, I tell you what, Charles is doing good, and I know he's doing good because he's in the yard, he's watering the lawn, he's doing this, he's doing that, and he looks good." I said, "Man, Charles is standing right behind this window." "Oh, he has something to tell you." "Oh, yeah?" Like a woman, she came out and stood right in front of Charles. "Hi, Charles. Been 17 years you spoke to me, Charles. How come today?" I said, "Oh, God." I mean, that kind of punishment I don't want. I don't ever want a woman to talk to me like that. I mean, that's embarrassment. That's utter embarrassment. He said, he played with his fingers. And she's standing there, "Well." "Well, I just want to tell you that I love you." "Well, I know that. You were just sick, boy." Hey, she hugged him. I mean, this was the most beautiful thing that I've seen in my healing journey. Because he then told me, "I want you to heal her," because she has some very close veins. Her sugar was kind of high, but she was not as bad. Her pressure was kind of high, and she was a little bit too heavy. Look, in a year time, she was slim and nice, and he was strong. They went on a honeymoon on one of these Norwegian trips. Now tell me about disease. Remember when I got there, he had diabetes. He was impotent. Had gout. Oh, forgot about the gout. The gout was eating him up. That's right. Now, I had this man with gout, diabetes, and a whole bunch of other stuff, living in the front part of the house, and the woman in the back, and he did not speak to her. Why? Do you think he didn't love her? Sure he did. But his disease preventing him from letting go, from reaching out and hugging. You know, the hug? I mean, I need love. I love love. I love a whole lot of it. The more I get, the better I feel. So in order for me to be a recipient of this love that I so like and need, am I not supposed to be a giver of it too? I mean, that is how simple it is. I mean, that's the love that I expect from each and every person that I meet, because that is all I have to give. But when I was eating meat, and I had my diabetes, and I was wearing my glasses and was impotent, I didn't like nobody. I couldn't like you or anyone else because I didn't like me. Because I was sick. I was eating the food that was forced on my forebears, and that was starch and milk, which obstructed my arteries, confused my brain, brought inflammation to my prostate gland, had my nerves so bad. So you see, going back to God, that is always the answer. But going back to Him, we have to be careful in selecting the things and know what He made. Like in milking a goat and in milking a cow. There's a difference, isn't it? The milk that comes from the animal that God made would be good, right? But the milk that came from the animal that comes from the animal that God did not make, that would not be too good. So which is the animal that God made between a cow and a goat? Oh, He made both, right? Well, no, He didn't. He made the goat. He did not make the cow. So when you make a goat, the milk is alkaline. But when you make a cow, it's acid. And you know what acid things does to the body? It eats up your body. That is where all disease begins. Erosion, mucus in the body, because we're not eating the food designed for us. So, we begin to see now, it begins slightly with a headache at 16. Oh boy, these violent headaches, you know, when you're 16, and you get this pain, it begins then. And then you begin to get fevers at night. Then you begin to feel pains, and around in your 20s, you begin to have these fibroid tumors. The doctor says, you have some fibroids there, but you don't bother them, they don't bother you. Now, how could something inside of you that doesn't belong would not bother you and not grow in you? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense, but we accept this. So for us to give this planet what we were designed to give the planet, we have to do what? Heal ourselves by returning to the food of our fathers. But we're not going to do it with one leap, one jump, one act, because that is a violation of life too. The sun rises gradually. Everything moves gradually. A baby sucks his mother's nip. Gradually, he sucks more and more until one day he sucks maybe for half an hour. And when he weans gradually also. So we have to now find a means to wean away from this food that we call, this stuff we call food. Because we're sick. We're impotent. We're going blind. We're diabetics. We got bad nerves. And we have short patience. And the one ingredient that is so missing for this journey to be understood and accepted is the thing that I said I like, which is love. But it is not the word itself. It is that electrical communication that is between you and that other person or everybody besides yourself. But to be able to reach there, to accomplish that place that you want to be comfortable with, you have to provide yourself the environment inside of yourself. And that environment could not be provided by eating meat. Just cannot. It's impossible. Love leave. When you put meat in your mouth, love leave you. Why? Because love says you don't like yourself. Because this stuff was not designed for you to eat. Your body was not designed to consume meat or milk or cheese or butter or eggs. So love leaves. And leave you hanging. Hating yourself and everybody else. And everybody's going to start hating you. But as soon as you get off of it, you find that love enters. And everybody see you now. Just smile. Like I remember living in Honduras as a little boy. There was a man that used to always pass cursing on some very nasty words. But we got used to his nasty words. Cursing everybody. And everybody just get away from him. And one day, he stopped cursing. And he was clean. Something happened. He got a wife. And everybody would walk up to him and ask him, how did he do it? But everybody still loved him. They would stay away from him, though, but now they would go to him. Because you've become a magnet. So for us to journey into the 21st century at the same pace that we are on now, well, there would be no black folks in the next 10, 20 years to see the 21st century. Because they have predicted AIDS is devastating and many other diseases plus the nutrition. But I just saw something which I'll share before I close. You know, the African people has been grossly misunderstood for their contribution that they made. And the greatest contribution the African made was to show the world that the best way to live is to live naturally. That was the greatest contribution the African was able to make, is to live naturally and in harmony with the planet that supports us. That was the most important thing. But because we are ashamed, or became ashamed, of the place that our foreparents occupied, such as the not clothes wearing, that was indicative of a savage. And then we begin to look at our foreparents as savages. But they were not savages. They were natural. They were very natural. They loved everyone. They traveled the world. When you go to Mexico, they talk about us. So it is necessary for us to begin now to put together more forums like this, talks. Sister Dorothy is very instrumental in bringing this about. For you to listen to this new perspective. The perspective is what? To cleanse the body. Disease is what? One. So when you leave from here today, someone asks you, well, you know, my grandmother had Parkinson's disease. Oh yeah, she has mucus in her brain. Located someplace in her brain that need to be removed. But my uncle is suffering with arthritis, where he has mucus in his bones. But what about my cousin? He has AIDS. Where do you have the mucus in his lymphatic system? His blood and his skin. But what about my mother? She's going blind when the mucus is on her eyes. And anywhere that mucus concentrates, it leaves the name of a disease. And the mucus only comes when you have injected something that did not belong in your body. And if you want a beautiful test, try this one, and then you will see. Stop eating for 21 days. Just drink water and juices, and if occasionally a fruit or so. Just don't eat anything. At the ending of 21 days, you're going to feel very good. You're going to feel very healthy and strong and light. And then you go and sit in front of some fat bag and a glass of milk, and you're going to be sneezing, and your nose is going to get tight. In fact, many of you sitting in here, noses get tight already. I could sit all the way from here and hear that little baby with mucus in his chest. The little baby that she's holding. The white mucus in the baby's chest. You see how young that baby is? And the baby already has mucus in his chest. Of course. Now imagine that baby holding that mucus in his chest without someone reaching out to really help that baby. That mucus would be there until time immemorial, eating away the lining of his chest, his bronchial tubes, his lungs. And then one day the baby get a fever, then the baby get pneumonia, then the baby passes because someone did not come in time to really help the baby because they did not know what was going on. That's all disease, mucus. The only reason why I knew that I could cure AIDS, it wasn't because I knew and I set out to cure AIDS. No, I did not set out to cure the AIDS or any disease. None of the Wisher Institute. We set out to nourish the black people back into health. That was our intent. Because we noticed that the black race was suffering more than any other race in the area of nutrition. When I went to Africa, I got scared. I got scared as hell. I got scared. I don't want to go back to Africa right now. I mean, I do not want to go close to Africa right now because tears comes out my eyes. When I went to Africa, and then I saw heads of state that invited me because Dr. Sebi is known all over the world. So these heads of states invited me, and what are they going to eat at the dinner table? Bush rat. Bush rat and gari. There were no vegetables on the table, and I'm looking at this, and this is the very man that comes to America, that came to America in the early 60s, in the early 50s, that I remember us saying, oh, I have a friend, and he's an African. He's a real African. He ain't from here. He's different. I heard sisters say, I'm not married no nigga from here. I'm married an African. I'm married a foreigner. That African had more starch in his brain than you would ever imagine. All of the invention in the world came from the head of the black man of America, not the African. Not the Central American like me. It came from you. So it is time for us to begin to explore the possibilities of us identifying the beauty in every group. The African has the answer because he has the soil. The black man of America has the brain. The Caribbean, he could be supported. And it's all over with. So what's happening here?